Hello, my Mercurial mercenaries. I received an email this morning asking me whether I'd watched a video about the guitar being dead. And I replied to this email and I said, the person who made that video about is the guitar dead probably read the Washington Post article on that subject that I read a couple of days ago. It was published in the Washington Post a couple of days ago. And I said, and I referred this person to an article that I wrote on my website yesterday. And the article I wrote on my website yesterday referenced a video that I recorded about the guitar being dead, where I talked about the Washington Post article. Now, this video that I recorded never saw the light of day because I sat here and I tried to recreate the conditions now, because I wasn't wearing this a minute ago. I put this on because this is what I was wearing. This was done up, but this is what I was wearing when I recorded that video that I referenced in my article yesterday. And that video never saw the light of day because I went through the motions, and for about 35 minutes I spoke about the subject of whether the guitar was dead or not, referencing the Washington Post article. And I think that video was one of the best videos I ever recorded. There was a lot of incidents that happened during it, mainly involving my cat, and there was a lot of side stories that I told that were just, I've got to say, they were fantastic. It was one of the funniest things that I ever did. As I was doing it, I felt this is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then when I went to edit the video, for some reason, technical difficulties, there was no audio. So it was and it was like this. And you could see, I was seeing the bits that I was doing, and I thought, that was funny. I remember that bit, that was where the cat sat on there, and then the music came on, and I did that bit about, but it was great. But no, that's me saying without audio, what can you do? You don't really want to sit through that. So what I thought was, and interestingly, I didn't want to record that video because I kind of don't want to do any more videos. So I did that video as a kind of stopgap to see whether... It doesn't matter. So the Washington Post posted an article saying the guitar is dead, and I did a video about that where I came to various conclusions which you'll never see. However, I wrote an article about it yesterday, about the recording of that video. And in the article published on my Mercurial6.com site, I referenced that video and I told the story about all the funny things that happened during that video. So now I thought, what could I do? I got this email this morning that mentions someone else, I think Pixie Licks or somebody. I'm trying not to watch too many YouTube videos at the moment. I'm just trying to take a step back from it. And he mentioned that Pixie Licks had done this video talking about whether the guitar is dead, and I said that must be from the Washington Post article. So I referenced him. So this is a video about the email this morning that references my reply saying that you should read the article from yesterday, when the article from yesterday references a video that you never saw, which referenced the Washington Post. So this video is really about the article that I wrote yesterday. So let's talk about the article. In the article, I mentioned the fact that when I was recording the original video, I had the TV in there on mute so that you wouldn't hear that coming that way while I'm trying to do this. And on the TV in there on mute, the Glastonbury Festival is playing. And I made some great gags about how during the Glastonbury Festival, the county that the festival's held in, when all the people congregate into the farm, it's the biggest mass of people in that county. It becomes the biggest city in the county. If it had a cathedral, it becomes the biggest city just for that weekend, for this weekend. And I referenced the fact that on there, while I was recording the video you never saw, was the Glastonbury Festival playing and loads of bands on there at the time playing guitar. Guitar, I don't know why I said it like that, guitar. And I made some gags, but my general point, which I expanded upon over various minutes, and the point that I made in my article yesterday was that there are still plenty of people who are willing to travel in their thousands to the middle of a field to watch people play the guitar. Now, the Washington Post article that I referenced in my video and then referenced in my article yesterday, which you can read because it's on Mercurial6.com. It's not a particularly good article because I wrote it while I was watching Radiohead, who were playing guitars. But the Washington Post article, and when I recorded my original thing talking about the Washington Post article, I had the collar down and this was done up, but fuck it. It said that the reasoning for saying the guitar is dead is because the Fender profits are down. In fact, I think they're in debt. Gibson are in debt. PRS are shifting their production to more low-cost guitars in foreign countries. And I made reference to the reasons why some of these guitar companies are losing money, Gibson especially, branching out, buying other music companies and spending so much money on technology, robotic guitar tuners. Is that a necessity? Do you or I need a robotic guitar tuner? Anyway, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. I referenced that in the first video that you never saw, and I referenced it with comedy and with humour. With humour. This isn't humour. This is... And then in the article that I wrote yesterday about the video that you never saw, which was referenced in the Washington Post, I talked about guitar heroes. The Washington Post said that in the past there were guitar heroes that people looked up to. And in my article that I wrote yesterday that referenced the video that you never saw, I mentioned again that yes, there were guitar heroes. But do you ever get fed up with the fact that when people talk about guitar heroes, they always talk about the same damn handful of guitar heroes? You could list them, if we had to list, if me and you and I, whichever way that is grammatically correct. I was taught one way when I was a kid. I was taught to put "and I" at the end of everything, so it wasn't me and you, it was always you and I. There's so many caveats with that, it's not really true. Anyway, if you and I, right now, and we're going to do this, had to name 10 guitar heroes, all right, 10 guitar heroes. If you want, pause this video now and list 10 guitar heroes. Right, my point, right, you back now? Unpaused? My point's going to be that, now this is the same cup I drank the coffee from when I did the original video, and it's still got, see that? I haven't really cleaned it out. So, same clothes, same cup. I didn't reference the cup in the article that I wrote yesterday about the video that referenced the Washington Post. But anyway, 10 guitar heroes. So here we go, okay? Let's see if you name the same ones as me. This is the problem, I think, with the whole concept of fucking guitar heroes, all right? Jimi Hendrix. Come on, I've got to get more than that. Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, Pete Townsend, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Eddie Van Halen, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, we need a 10. We need a 10. We're going to do this. This is going to happen. The 10th one is going to come. Angus Young. There's a 10. There's the 10. Did that match your 10? When people talk about how in the past there were guitar heroes that people looked up to, I'm not so sure. The pool that they talk about is so limited. It's like taking a load of guitar heroes and putting them in a fucking bucket. And the bucket's got a hole in it. Bucket's got a hole in it. And they said there are no guitar heroes. There are no guitar heroes today that kids can look up to. And in the article yesterday about the video that you never saw that referenced the Washington Post article, I kind of mentioned this. It depends what you define guitar hero as. And in my original video that you never saw, I did this whole section on Guitar Heroes, and during that moment, when I was talking about Guitar Heroes, my cat sat on my streaming device over there. And I referenced this in the article that I posted yesterday. My cat sat on the streaming device, and this causes music to start in every speaker in my house. And then I referenced in the original video and in the article yesterday about the original video that you never saw, I talked about a time where, so I'm lying in bed, I'm asleep, all right, at 3 in the morning. It's 3 in the morning, and suddenly, it's quiet. It's like it's quiet. And suddenly I get, Ace of Spades! Ace of Spades! I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? Holy shit. Everyone's going fucking mental. It sounds like the world's going to explode, and the neighbours, and 3 in the morning, and then I come downstairs, and then the cat has sat on the play button on my streaming device. Sat his fucking bony arse on my player and started the music in every room. So this is where I've got advice, and I list this in the article yesterday, and I originally spoke about it in the video that you never saw. But if you look in the article yesterday, I talked about there are a few points you have to do when you've got a streaming device in your house. Right. Point number 1. You have to make sure that the volume is basically set near 0. So that if it was accidentally started by, say, a pussycat's bony arse, the volume won't blow houses down. All right. Point number 2. Make sure your default set list, because this is what happened this time with the Motorhead, make sure your default set list isn't heavy metal or thrash metal. If it is going to be accidentally started, make sure it started with something soft. A Pink Floyd album, or in my case at the moment, and I referenced this in the article yesterday, so I won't talk too much about it, relaxation, meditation stuff that's supposed to send you to sleep, where you have a bloke talking really gently. And he talks really gently. I would say he looked you in the eye, but it's audio only. So he talks really gently to you, all right? And he actually hypnotizes you to a certain extent, as much as I believe in hypnotism. But it does work. Hypnotism is a fact. It's just not something that involves acting like a dog, all right? Anyway, so he talks to you really gently. And this is all right if it accidentally gets set off in the middle of the night. This kind of thing with a calm, relaxing, tranquil voice. Imagine you're a reed floating in a river and the water's flowing over you and you're going with the motions of the water. This is a lot better to accidentally be switched on than Ace of Spades! Ace of Spades! That's the way it feels, and that's the way I like it, baby. I don't want to live forever. At 3 in the fucking morning. So I talked about this in my article yesterday. And I talked about it in the article because I was referencing the video that you never saw. And in the original video, that whole section I just did then, it was funny, and it was really funny. And I think during it, I did a belch, and it was quite a poignant moment because I was saying to you, to the camera, I was saying, imagine if I was to say to you, and I belched. And what I would have done if I was editing it was I would have repeated that belch a few times, but at the aftermath of the belch, I naturally went, imagine if I was saying to you, belch, and then I went, obviously, I wouldn't be saying that to you. But that's a recreation of that moment, wearing the same shirt, same tie, holding the same cup. But because I've recreated the moment, it's hard to recreate a moment and still be funny, so that wasn't funny at all. And this is the problem I think bands have when they produce demos. If you're going to produce a whole demo, not a whole demo, put the word whole after demo. If you're going to produce a demo of your whole album before you record your album, you are in danger of the demo sounding more vibrant, more exciting than the eventual album. So many bands find this, and they don't find it, like find this. And a few bands in history have ended up just releasing the demo. I could reference which bands those are now, but it's not important because that was just a side story. Now, that wasn't a funny side story. But the stories I told in the original video, which I referenced in an article yesterday, which someone asked me about today in an email, those stories were funny. And the cat, at the time, the cat was basically, during the video you never saw, the cat was messing me about. And because he was messing me about, I was getting more and more angry with him. But I can't get angry with him genuinely because I love him. But the anger there was banter, and he was being a little bit noisy, a little bit vocal. And there was banter going on, and the banter between me and the cat in the original video, which you'll never see, was some of the best banter I've ever been a party to. And that's why it was heartbreaking, in a way, when the audio didn't come out on that video. And it was also heartbreaking because that video was my kind of last desperate attempt to see whether I wanted to do any more videos. If you read the article I posted yesterday, I'm having a bit of an existential crisis. I'm aware that there's no huge appetite to see videos from me. Okay? And in my article yesterday I posted about the video you never saw, which referenced the Washington Post. I do say there that this isn't a violin moment. This isn't fishing for, Mercurial number 6. This is just genuine. When you get to the point where you've done 400 videos and you're averaging like 70 views per video, you have to wonder why you're bothering. And not in a violin, let's play the violin for Mercurial number fucking 6. Just genuinely, why am I bothering? I should be doing other things. And I also accept that there's no appetite for my music particularly. So once you realise there's no appetite for anything you do artistically, then you wonder why you're bothering. Now, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking about someone like Van Gogh, who, look, I'm not comparing myself to Van Gogh, but just as I said that then, I thought, what if he'd just given up because no one cared about his painting? I don't know. So I wrote an article yesterday referencing a video you never saw, which referenced the Washington Post. And I was basically saying that I think I kind of quit. And it felt like the fact that last video that I did, that I referenced in the article yesterday, which someone emailed me about today, I kind of think that if that had been a success and I was even able to post it, that might have changed things. But the fact that someone, somewhere, something caused that audio to fail for the first time ever, and I'm very well aware that it could fail again now, and if it fails again now, then I do quit. But when the audio failed, I think I took that as a sign, and I said to myself, I packed all my equipment up, not sexually, I packed all my equipment up and I said, I quit. And then I wrote the article that I'm talking about on this video that I posted on the Mercurial6.com website, and it was kind of a goodbye. And then the email came through this morning asking whether I'd seen Pixie Licks talking about guitar being dead. And it kind of made me angry. Not the person who... It made me angry in that I thought, bugger. My original video, if I'd posted it, would have probably been one of the first videos... Well, it would have been out there referencing that subject. But I've got someone emailing me to ask me whether I've watched someone doing a video on the thing that I did a video on. And I thought, bugger me. So it kind of spurred? It didn't spurn me, it spurred me. It spurred me on to do this video now, referencing the article. Well, it spurred me on to do this video referencing the reply to that email, referencing the article, referencing the video you never saw, referencing the Washington fucking Post. And I also did a little piece on how I stood outside, when I was in Washington DC, I stood outside the Washington Post building. And I kind of put my arms out like this because I'm a fan of the film All the President's Men. It's one of my favourite films. And I kind of stood outside the building and I wanted to feel something. I wanted to feel something. I didn't feel anything. I wanted to feel something. And when you want to feel something. So I'm making this video now. So thank you to the person who sent the email because you spurred me on to make another video. So therefore I haven't quit. But I can still quit if you want me to. But I'm not threatening to, no, right, let's make this straight now. I'm not threatening to quit. I'm not going to be one of those people who says I quit and then I come back. I haven't done that because I haven't quit. I'm not going to delete my channel and then reinstate my channel. I'm not going to do any of that shit. I'm just genuinely having a crisis of confidence. And I think after 400 videos, and let's be matter of fact here, no success, I really should quit. And this isn't violins. I don't need to have people coming at me saying, I understand, because I've gone through this before. I understand that if I had a room full of 300 people, all hanging on every word I say, every video I did, if I treat it like a gig and I've got 300 people watching, I can't be disappointed in that. You see, that's how I should feel, yeah? But I do feel disappointed. Because I don't feel there's growth. And the reason there isn't growth is because there's no appetite to watch me. And there's no appetite for my music. And that's all I'm doing. I'm being realistic because I am real. If nothing else, I am a realist. That's fucking bollocks. I'm a fantasist. I'm a fantasist. Who am I trying to kid? So anyway, this isn't one of those threatening to quit videos. This is just a crisis of confidence. And this is a stopgap video because I don't intend to post any more videos for the foreseeable future. Or maybe I will. That's the thing with it, isn't it? Because I'm not quitting. So I can do whatever I want. But I just thought I'd do this video. And this video is about the email this morning, which referenced an article yesterday, which referenced a video you never saw, which referenced an article by the Washington Post that claimed that the guitar is dead. It's a very balanced article by the Washington Post. Don't get angry about it. Just go and read it. It's a very balanced article. But it makes a few fundamental errors in its observations. One of them is that for the first time ever, it says the sale of acoustic guitars has overtaken the sale of electric guitars. And it says, where are the guitar heroes? And I'm thinking, you got to be joking, right? Only a few months ago, I did a video where I talked about Ed Sheeran having every position in the UK top 20 singles chart. Every single single was Ed Sheeran. Everyone around the world buys his albums and licks the vinyl, licks the ones and zeros. Ed Sheeran plays acoustic guitar. Ed Sheeran is a guitar hero, whether you like it or not. He's a current guitar hero. Remember that bucket with a hole in it? Well, all the other ones are drained out. Fine. Their time had to come. Their time had to come. And now Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift or whoever is in that bucket, and they play acoustic guitar. The kids see Ed Sheeran play an acoustic guitar and they buy an acoustic guitar. That is not, I hate the phrase, but that is not rocket science. Holy shit, people. I referenced that in the article I wrote yesterday. I say something like, it never fails to amaze me how naive or stupid people are. The sales of acoustic guitars have gone up. Holy shit. No shit, Sherlock. In the article yesterday that referenced the video that you never saw, referenced the Washington Post, I made this comment that all my life people have told me that the guitar is dead. In the 80s, through synth pop, you had hair metal, you had the Smiths, you still had guitars, but by the end of the 80s, with acid house and rap music and house music, people said guitar is dead. And then, whether you like it or not, grunge came along. And for those of you who don't like grunge, just factor this in. Grunge, for a while there, saved the electric guitar. Because remember, the guitar was dead. And then you had the rise of sampling, and you had Left Field, Orbital, The Prodigy, Underworld. People said, guitar is dead. But it wasn't. You had Britpop, and then after that you had Coldplay. And then gangster rap and everything came along and they said the guitar is dead. And then you had the Arctic Monkeys. And people say there are no guitar heroes, but maybe the youth of today looks to Alex Turner, the Arctic Monkeys, and they say, no, he's a fucking guitar hero. And then you've got them constantly coming along and people are constantly surprising you. And the article suggests that the guitar is going the way of the violin and the cello. It's becoming a historic instrument. But I say that something that produces sound and noise can evolve just like the person playing it can evolve. Do you remember around the time of all that hair metal shit, which I liked a lot of it during the 80s, it seemed like the guitar could go nowhere new because just that sound always sounds like that, yeah? And then Tom Morello at A Rage Against the Machine made the guitar and the guitar solos sound like something from another planet. And we all went, holy shit, how's he doing that? And each time it happens, just when you think something can't just make you go, wow, that's good, someone else does something, whether it's Jack White or whether it's Royal Blood, someone does something that you think, people, the ingenuity of the human race can always move something on. And the fact that they choose to move it on with the electric guitar means that probably the guitar will never be dead, just like the violin is never dead. But having said that, it's a very balanced article from the Washington Post, and I do understand where it's coming from. I do. But my point would be, there's 100 sides to every story. 101 spotted dogs. So there you go. I think we'll leave it there. I will try and go. I need to have some breakfast. And then I'll take off these clothes that I wore just to recreate what I wore in the video that you never saw that I referenced in the article yesterday that I mentioned to someone in an email this morning. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say now. I'll go and watch the Pixie Licks video just to see what his take on the subject was. But just bear in mind that I did a video that I think probably came out before his. You just never got to see it. Although his is probably better than mine. Because there's an appetite to watch him. There's no appetite to watch me. Although there's nothing wrong with an appetite for destruction. Appetite for Destruction, that's a great name for an album, isn't it? You kind of just say the words, Appetite for Destruction, but when you really think about what those three words mean, it's really clever, it's good. Appetite for Destruction. So, I quit. Or I don't quit, I don't know. But I just thought I'd put this video out there. Just to see whether I still feel it's worth it. So this is a video about an email about an article about a video you never saw, which referenced a Washington Post article that I read on Facebook a few days ago. It was published about 3 days ago now. I suggest you go and read it. The Washington Post article is called something like "Why My Guitar Gently Weeps." Why, not while. See what they did there? The slow, secret death of the 6-string guitar. Oh, in the article yesterday, I referenced a joke I made in the original video where I said, I think I ended the original video by saying, and do you know what? Everything I've said is probably bollocks because we'll all end up playing that fucking key thing from the Masters of the Universe movie. Do you remember that? Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Over and out.